Indianapolis. Greetings from the Indiana Convention Center and Lucas Oil Stadium, where aspiring NFL players are going through a process crucial to their professional hopes at the 2019 NFL Combine. The Big Ten is well represented in Indianapolis, whether it's a couple potential top picks from Ohio State, a Penn State legend, or a pair of uber-athletic tight ends from Iowa. There will be plenty of eyes on players from the B1G. Here are 11 to keep in mind over the next couple days. Beau Benzschawe, OL, Wisconsin. A former Badgers offensive lineman who seems like he could project well to the next level. Color me shocked. Wisconsin is one of the leading producers of offensive linemen, and Benzschawe is one of a couple Badgers linemen who could turn heads. The 6'6", 315-pounder earned All-American honors as a senior while starting at right guard. Nick Bosa, DL, Ohio State. Bosa is in the mix to be the top pick in April's draft, even after his college career was cut short by an injury last fall. As a sophomore, he had 8.5 sacks and 16.0 tackles for loss, and he would be a dangerous addition to any front seven. Pass rushing is at a premium in the NFL, and this year's defensive line class is deep. Bosa could be the best of the group. Devin Bush, LB, Michigan linebacker, is an interesting position to evaluate, and Bush appears to be in the running to be the top dog in the group. He's on the shorter side, but he's a top athlete who could boost his case with a strong showing in drills. There are some teams in the middle, late first round, Pittsburgh Steelers, anyone? Who might need a little of help at linebacker, and Bush could be their guy if he drops that far. Byron Cowart, DL, Maryland. Cowart is an interesting case. He was the nation's top recruit a couple years ago and picked Auburn over everybody. But his career never really got off the ground there, and after a stop at junior college, he ended up at Maryland, where he had 5 tackles for loss and 3 sacks last season. The production isn't there, but the potential still might be, and that might be enough to move up some draft boards. Noah Fant, Iowa. Fant is an alluring prospect at 6'5" and 241 pounds with a production to boot. In 2017, Fant caught 30 passes for 494 yards, 16.5 yards per catch, and 11 touchdowns. That's production. He could be a mismatch machine in the red zone for a team, and that should make him an appealing option. Rashawn Gary, DL, Michigan. Gary, like the aforementioned Cowart, was the nation's top recruit, and he picked Michigan. And while he flashed the talent that made him the consensus no. 1 player in the class of 2016, there wasn't a whole bunch of consistency and production outside of his 11.5 tackles for loss and 5.5 sacks in 2017. His projection to the NFL isn't necessarily straightforward, but the athletic tools are there to make him a top 10 pick. Dwayne Haskins, QB, Ohio State. Will Haskins be the first quarterback off the board in April? And how high could he go? Those are some questions swirling around the Buckeyes' one-year starter. 1 year after an historic group of quarterbacks, the depth isn't quite at the same level. But Haskins has the chance to distance himself from Kyler Murray, Drew Lock, and Daniel Jones. With so many teams getting quarterbacks a year ago, Haskins could prompt another group to trade up and grab him. TJ Hawkinson, Iowa. Could Iowa put 2 tight ends in the first round? It would be an impressive feat, but Hawkinson joins Fant as a top prospect at the position. He caught 49 passes for 760 yards, 15.5 yards per catch, and 6 touchdowns last season. He could put some impressive testing numbers alongside his 6'5", 250-pound frame. Trace McSorley, QB, Penn State. So what do NFL teams think about McSorley? He doesn't necessarily project highly in the NFL draft. His NFL.com scouting report gives him a better-than-average chance to make NFL roster grade, but there will be talk about his intangibles, given his success both in high school and college. If he does well at an audition, he could make himself appealing to an NFL team with a late-round pick. Sheriff Miller, edge. Penn State. Miller isn't one of the most notable names in a loaded defensive line class, but with so much focus on that position, the Philadelphia native could make an impression. He had 26.5 tackles for loss and 13 sacks over the past 2 seasons, which is solid production. He has good size and athleticism. He could boost his stock and sneak into the upper middle rounds. Darnell Savage, S. Maryland. A recent mock draft had Savage going in the first round, which would turn some heads. He plays a position that can be tough to evaluate sometimes, but he had solid production during his senior year with 7 interceptions over the past 2 seasons. He could be a ball hawk for a team that needs help on the back end. At Daniel Gallen.